Hi, this is Bryant. Thanks for joining. This is the first video in a three-part series on building an AI application with AI. And I am today going to talk about the what. So what is it that we built? What were the goals? What were the constraints? Video 2 is going to talk about the how. And video 3 is going to talk about lessons learned. So hopefully there's something in each of the videos for everyone. So Insights and Actions isn't the name of an actual product, at least not a product that's for sale. It's the name of a pet project that I started about 8 weeks ago. And I actually never thought I'd be doing any videos around it, but I learned a lot in the 8 weeks that I was working on it. And I thought at the end, there were a number of things that I wish I had known before I started. So I thought it would be worthwhile just to put together a few videos, 10 to 15 minutes in length, for anyone else who is interested in building an AI application or just learning what was possible. So the goal was to create an AI assistant, pseudo CRM application that would allow me to spend the same amount of time I was spending on this golf site, totalguy.net, but be more productive. And with that goal, I put a couple of ground rules in play. So one, the application had to be completely local. So the LLM needed to be local and it needed to be hosted locally. Two, everything needed to be built by AI and through AI prompts. So I wasn't going to be able to look at the code. I wasn't going to be able to edit code or style sheets. I wasn't going to be able to provide any images or layouts, everything through AI prompts. Three, it needed to work the way that I worked. So text-based chat was great. That was going to be very important. But I also wanted the ability to have conversational AI, and I wanted the ability to have some more traditional types of interfaces for simpler tasks. Like if I wanted to create a note, I didn't want to necessarily write out a prompt. I wanted to be able to 2 clicks and pop up a note form and fill things out. So needed to work in those 3 ways. And then the fourth, probably the most important, was that it needed to work across multiple data sets in multiple locations. So some of the data was local to my machine. It was private information. So from a security standpoint, I didn't want to put it up in the cloud. Some of the information was publicly available and it was already in the cloud, so I needed to access that. And some of the information was behind a VPN or secure login, and the system needed to know when it had access to that and what data that it had access to when answering certain questions. So how did I get started? It began with some extended conversations with ChatGPT's conversation engine. I talked a lot about what technologies I might want to use, what architecture might be the best fit. Talked about some of the functionality and landed on the decision to build a router agent model. And from there, I used Claude in the browser to get a little bit more information. I started to build things out using Codex as a command line tool, and then ended up using Claude plugin as part of Visual Studio to finish everything off. Let's get started. Take a look at the application. Here's the main interface, the chatbot. But to start, let's take a look at the datasets icon here. You can see there's a list of datasets, and you can individually go in and choose what datasets you want the system to use for your response. You can also go up top here on the right and choose a profile, and that profile will have a pre-selected number of datasets associated with it. You also have the ability here to jump into conversation mode. So there's a wake word. You can say Joshua and it will start to listen to you. But you can also just click on the icon here and you can start that back and forth conversation with the application. And then finally, on the far right, there's an icon that allows you to actually take the prompt and send it out to the ChatGPT API. And that's because I knew I wouldn't have all the information that I needed here, and I wanted a way to be able to quickly send that information out to ChatGPT and get the information here without actually having to leave the application. So next, I'm just going to go down a couple of these items in the left-hand nav. We've got MB, which is the morning briefing. And the morning briefing is what I look at as I'm drinking coffee in the morning. So it takes a lot of the functionality that's happening the nightly cron jobs. It takes a lot of the event listings, just a lot of the back-end information, and summarizes it and puts it into this nice interface in the morning. So I get to see my schedule. I get to see tasks that I do that day. In addition to obviously updated sports, my team's mostly from Boston, which I want to know about first thing in the morning. But I also get to see what's going on with individual companies that I'm monitoring as far as news or Reddit posts. So all of this is available right here in the morning briefing. If I do have some extra time, which I usually don't, but sometimes it's nice to be able to go one level deeper, and I can go into magazines. And in magazines, I still have all these different categories, and I can identify which items are new just by looking at the cover of the magazine, but it holds 6 months worth of data. So if I want to go back and look at something that maybe I saw in a morning briefing, or I remember I saw in a morning briefing, I can go back into magazines and take a look at it, a week or two later, and see if it's something that I still have use for. So we'll keep going down. Under personal, we've got tasks. Tasks is, there's a bunch of different ways that you can interact with tasks. You can use a shortcut and pull up the taskbar. You can tell the system that you want to create a task due on a particular date. But the nice part about this is based on the keywords, you can use this for everything. So I don't use it just for Total Guide. I use it for all tasks across all the different things that I do in my life. And it's indexed, so I can start to ask questions about what tasks might be due, or what tasks are due as related to a particular category, all through the chat interface. Notes is another one where you can pull up information or create information in a number of different ways. One of the unique things about the notes functionality is that it allows you to associate not only a contact with the note, but also a company. So if I'm taking notes on a particular organization, I can actually go to that company page, and at the bottom of that company page, I'm going to see all the notes that are associated with that organization, and I can click on any one of those notes and pull it up right there. I can also go into any of my contacts and click on that contact, and as part of that contact card, I'll see any notes that have been associated with that contact. And again, they're all indexed, so these are all things that I can access through the chatbot, and that the chatbot can access as it's summarizing information. I'm going to skip over journal. We'll get to that in another video. The calendar application, this is another one that's a lot more valuable than what I initially thought it might be. So this pulls in all of my calendars, whether or not it's through Google or through Mac Calendar, wherever. Everything gets pulled into a single view. And from there, I can make edits. I can create new appointments. And you saw in the morning briefing how it gives you an outline of what you have to do that day. But it's great to be able to ask for when you have free time, and not have it just check your work calendar, but check all of your calendars so that you know you actually do have free time then, as opposed to, well, I know I don't have a work appointment, but I might need to bring the dog to the vet that day, and those are two different calendars. When we jump down to the CRM system, I'm going to skip contacts for now, but on the company side, there's a lot of great things going on the company side. So when you go into an individual company, you can see right away that there's a lot of information. There's information up top, just general information. But I do go out as part of the nightly feed and update the description of the organization. There's a specific prompt to do that, in addition to products and services. If it's a public company, I can go out and I can pull all the publicly available information with regard to earnings reports, stock prices, and the AI goes through and then creates summaries. You can see in these boxes for different categories, so that I don't actually have to go through and read all the reports. Or if I see something interesting, I can actually click on the report and go in and see it. Next on the list is Vision. Vision started out as a fun little add-on that was meant to replace my Ring camera, and it actually did. So it does object detection and facial recognition. It allows you to draw a property boundary and anything that passes over that boundary, it takes a photograph of and then sends you an email or a text alert. So it's turned out to actually be very productive. It also identifies when deer or turkey or anything like that go and run through the yard. So enablement started out as a way to get contractors for Total Guide up to speed. So if they needed to find out about a brand voice or they needed to know where documentation was, it was going to be an easy way for them to get that information. But in the end, it became more valuable for me in my full-time job as a way to get up to speed on a lot of the new products and services that were being offered. So as part of this piece of functionality, there's a special chatbot that focuses just on enablement data set, and it will create quizzes so you can go in and say, test my expertise on a particular topic or feature, and it will generate a 10-question quiz and then grade you and give you answers, the correct answers to the ones you got wrong. And you can also role play. So you can go in and say, I want to be the customer, or I want to be the account manager. This is the persona, and this is the vertical. And it's turned out to be really valuable for me in a very different way than what I initially anticipated. Mind maps are kind of my life. They're the way I organize things, so I couldn't have any application that didn't do that. You can throw a document into the chat and say, create a mind map of this, and it will do that. It'll import mind maps because I've got a lot of them already. And you can go in and edit them and save them and export them. So standard mind map functionality, but for me, I live and breathe that stuff. And then finally, the admin section, everything needed to be configurable because I wanted this to work without having to go in and write new code once I was done. So there are a few sections here in admin that we'll go through today. We'll hit some others later. On the settings page, you can see there's an opportunity to handle some of the basic application settings, but also this is where you enter your response triggers. It's also where you set up your Google authentication if you want to authenticate with Gmail or Google Calendar. You go into the content loading area. This is where you can see all the different sites that are being indexed. You can also upload documents. You can take a look at any snippets that have been pulled in from the Chrome extension, all different ways to add content into the system. There's a list of agents. This is read-only, but it tells you the input and output JSON for the different agents. And then there's a widget section where you can actually say, hey, this is how I want this content coming out of the agent to display. And you can actually edit and add widgets right here in the interface. And then finally on the end, we've got here this router learning piece, which is really important because the more you use it, the more you realize that you haven't given it all the examples it needs. So anytime you give a prompt answer a thumbs down, it'll show up here. You can tell it, hey, you use the wrong data set. You really should use this data set to answer that question. And you can also see the examples that have been provided and add additional examples while you're there. That's it for video number 1. Thanks for joining and hope that you will be back for videos 2 and 3. Have a great day.